This then is an example of an interpretation question in the style of a 9-to-1 history GCSE paper. Please remember, an interpretation is a secondary piece of evidence based upon historical research. All right, so an interpretation is a secondary piece of work based upon primary evidence that people have undertaken. We have two interpretations on this page, interpretation 1 and interpretation 2. And the idea is that you are going to compare and contrast these two interpretations. Some of the language might be challenging, and consequently there are words that you will need to look up if that is required. Interpretation 1 then, from Sir Robert Peel, The Life and Legacy by Richard Gaunt, published in 2010. Peel's criminal law reforms were not designed to result in less punishment, but in its more precise and efficient application. It follows from this that there would be no immediate downturn in capital executions. He may not have been a great hangman, but nor was he a great humanitarian. Any words that you need to look up here, please highlight them and then go and find the definition in a dictionary. Underneath then, the first question: the author of this book believes that Robert Peel set up the police force because, and if you can write your reason or reasons in there, that would be great. Second interpretation then, from Victorian England, Portrait of an Age by G.M. Young, published in 1936. His frigid efficiency covered an almost passionate concern for the welfare of people. Again, highlight the key words and then check in a dictionary for definitions. Repeat the same task: the author of this book believes that Robert Peel set up the police force because. When that is done, we now have to explain why the two historians have different views, and for that reason you'll need to complete the table. Now, a Word version of this particular document will be made available, so you can actually expand the spaces in here if you'd rather do this electronically. First things first then, summarise what their view is on Robert Peel. Why did he do it? Interpretation 1, interpretation 2. Secondly, pick a quotation from each of the interpretations to support your summary. And you're used to doing this from the work that you've done on inference questions. You're going to have to lift a quote out of those two sources, the interpretations. One reason the interpretations may differ is because, do they, for example, emphasize different ideas or different reasons? What does interpretation 1 focus on? What does interpretation 2 focus on? And then the extension task. These are partial extracts. They are parts of bigger texts. How could this possibly affect what you see as the historian's viewpoint? Are you getting the full picture of their point of view? If you are prepared to attempt the extension task, that is where you will make that particular answer in that gap.